Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Out of the Park Baseball 21. And as you can see, today we are at the end of the regular season, so let's go over how our season went. So as you can see here, we finished the season 63-99, just one loss short of the 100 loss threshold. And here we're going to go and quickly just check here. Well, at least compare to last year, of course, the first year, and we did a little worse. The Pythagorean win-loss was also worse, as we were expected to win about 61 games, and last year we were actually a little bit above what we ended up being 4 games above, as we were supposed to be 72 and 90, or as that would suggest. But let's go ahead and get right into it. Looking at how everyone did. Jake Rogers, of course, he was pretty decent for us in the beginning of the year, but he definitely kind of tapered off. His OBP was in the 330s, it dipped down to 310, hit under 200, slugged about 360. So catcher continues to be kind of a big black hole for us, as both him and Holiday were really bad, and there really wasn't pretty much anyone that is in our organization that we could call up and help us out in kind of that department. So Rogers, I have faith that he could be a decent backup, as he does have good defensive ratings and can hit for some power. So he could be a decent backup, but none of these guys definitely have potential in being on long term. And I just want to quick point out a little fun thing here. Joey Wentz actually was kind of he's been used as a little bit of a two-way player for us. He's got about 45 at bats. Not terrible, actually, in those at-bats. He hit 3 homers, slugged over 500 in that time. So that was kind of interesting. I didn't even really notice that he got at-bats for us. And he actually isn't awful. I mean, he is 40 contact. It doesn't really have much of an eye, but he's basically just a little power bat, which, I mean, I guess I'm not too mad at him getting some ABs. He definitely shouldn't get a decent amount, but, I mean, it's just a little fun thing there, and I mean, definitely not going to take him off of acting as a two-way player, because I mean, he was pretty decent. So we'll just keep following that as it kind of goes along a little. Rhys Hoskins, he was not good for us. He was actually a little better with us than he was with the Phillies. In kind of the realm that he was a little better hitting for powers. He slugged a little better, still not very good at all. Didn't really get on base at all. Didn't really hit well for us at all. So really disappointing to see that. I mean, we kind of buy low on him and aren't really paying him any money. So if he does happen to turn into something, that is great. But I mean, he was a negative win player last year. So I don't really have that much faith in him returning to form. Daniel Pinheiro, he is a guy who we called up in September. A great corner defensive guy at first and third, play a little bit of shortstop. He was doing pretty well in AAA, so I decided to call him up. As you can see, a 380 OBP. So I thought maybe he could kind of replicate a little bit of that success for us here in the bigs, but he did not. He was pretty poor on the few at-bats that he got, so not much to talk about there. Jared Walker, he wasn't that good for us, 284 OBP. I mean, he could be a platoon left-handed guy option at first base, but I don't have that much faith in him. Of course, he was a Rule 5 guy, so not much faith there. Steven Almeida, not good at the plate, but of course he's a defensive wizard, so his stats are whatever. I mean, we'll definitely be bringing him back. Candelario had a disappointing season. I just slugged just over 400 for us this year. Dahlback, he of course was banged up a little bit at the end. Some encouraging results from him. Slugged about 480, worth a 1.5, and just over 100 games. I'm definitely going to keep him on the team, keep building up with him. He has been pretty decent for us since we acquired him. Zach Cozart, of course, was very good as a veteran depth piece. I don't know how much he'd want to come back, still nothing. Paredes, he actually was pretty impressive this year, by my standards. OBP 350, slugged in the mid 4s. I mean, for a guy in his first full season majors, that is definitely very encouraging to see OPS over 800. Definitely a good first season for him. He played pretty much everywhere for us, kind of expanding his positional versatility. He wasn't very good in left, but to be fair, he basically had no experience coming into the position into the year, so he spent a long time playing left with very low ratings, so that contributed to that. It did go up as the season went on. Reyes was pretty good again for us. Not as good at the plate as he was last year. Actually, no, it was pretty comparable. A little lower OBP, but he did hit for better power and also played in less games. But still, he keeps providing quality defense in center field for us, which is very important in Comerica. So overall, pretty pleased with his performance. Cousins, I would have expected a little more from him, but still not terrible. Definitely want to see if he can continue to develop as a good power bat for us over the course of the next few years. Pitching wise, not too many standouts. Jimenez had not nearly as good of a year as he did last year. Still not bad. FIP under 4. ERA plus of 127. Garcia was not bad for us either. Ronnie Garcia, who actually got some experience out of the bullpen, and as a starter this year, was pretty good. He was 8-1, which is kind of fun to see, of course, because we were a pretty awful team. But he did somehow pick up 8 wins, which is kind of funny to see there. Not too much. I mean, we have a bunch of kind of meddling relievers here in the mid-4s. I mean, pretty average performance, nothing really standing out. Casey Mize, again, a disappointing season from him. Really just playing good control, not walking anyone, but still allowing a bunch of runs. Of course, his FIP is pretty high, not really striking many people out, just 7 per 9. Although his BABIP is around 300, so that's kind of unfortunate to see, as he had a pretty bad season, or at least not as good of a season as we would like to see, and still had a pretty reasonable BABIP. So it's not because of bad luck, most likely. Boyd, not very good. Still a slew of guys up here who got some meaningful innings who are also not good. So pitching definitely is something that we need to address going forward. So just looking at the playoffs here, the Dodgers won for the second year of the row, kind of dominating. They barely squeaked past the Brewers, going to all 5 games in the division series here, and then sweeping the Diamondbacks, and then going on to sweep the Indians in the World Series. So pretty dominating performance by them. Okay, so now looking at re-upping with the guys that we currently have. A lot of guys who were honestly probably going to be letting go. Boyd, he wants over $7 million. He wasn't good for us last year, so we're going to be non-tendering him. Fulmer, pretty much same deal with him. Not good for us last year. Not pitching in a full season, which of course last year he came back from a Tommy John. So, and this year not a full season from him. More injury problems. He wants $8 million. Definitely going to be non-tendering him as well. Turnbull, Cicero, I mean, they're fine. They're making under $1 million, so I'm not too concerned with that. So I guess we will keep them for now. Jimenez wants almost $6 million, I think. Oh, did not mean to do that. I think we'll go slightly lower, maybe. Maybe 550. So we'll enter that in. And then Candelario will re-up with, I suppose. Definitely down year from him, but still worth keeping around. He's under team control for a while. So Reyes, keeping him around too. Holiday, we're definitely going to let go. Cozart, he wants $2 million, but I don't know if I'm interested in bringing in a veteran guy again this year, because him and Dozier definitely did take away playing from some of the guys we did acquire, although I'm not totally convinced that a lot of these guys in the infield are long-term options. Again, we do have, of course, Jordan Walker coming up in the system at third base, so, and his defensive ratings are definitely better than Dahlback, so he'll, long-term, if he stays with us, probably see the majority of his playing time at first. And then, of course, we do have the DH spot, which would probably be up to Candelario if he performs well. Maybe Dahlback, maybe Hoskins if he performs well. There's a slew of guys who could probably fill in there. Paredes probably doesn't project there since he is pretty versatile with the defensive positions he can play. So we'll probably keep him around. Looking forward more into it. Looks like we're retiring 35. Justin Verlander, looks like he retired. Of course, a long time tagger. Looks like he also wasn't very good this year. Yeah, he made 19 appearances, only started 2 games. He was very bad for the Astros this year, and doesn't look like he was very good in 2020 either. So sad to see him hanging up. Of course, he was a long time tagger, and it looks like our pitching coach decided to retire, who we of course just brought him in this year. So let's go ahead and look to bring in some new coaches to our staff. Okay, look at hitting coaches here. Definitely want somebody who can help develop some of our guys. I don't want coaching tendencies. Okay, definitely want a guy who's gonna fit the style of a lot of guys we have, and a guy who can help develop the current guys we have. Okay, I think I don't know. This guy helps improve walk rate, but he's also better with veteran players. I think we might go with this guy. Looks pretty decent. Maybe see, there are a lot of guys in here who are help develop hitter's eye, or at least that's what they're most known for. So I think we're going to sign him. There's really not a whole lot available here, not a lot of proven guys. I think we might go with a ground baller maybe. Childs, he's a power pitching guy. Okay, I mean, looks like you have a good relationship with Mize, so that could probably be good for his development, so we'll go with him. Oh, that reminds me, one thing I did want to mention is Tariq Skubal. We ended up optioning down to the minors, and he was, out of all of the guys who were bad for us this year, he probably was the worst and most disappointing, because he's actually absolutely terrible for us this year. You can see ERA over 6, but I mean, it's pretty much, I mean, really all you need to know about that. But I mean, he was almost -2 WAR, 1.6 WHIP. Wasn't striking out nearly the amount of people as he did last year. I mean, overall, just a terrible season from him. And he received both time starting and out of the bullpen, and he was pretty awful in both of them, which is really, really concerning. So I'm not exactly sure what his future is going to hold with this team. But certainly, if he keeps performing like that, he will not have much of a future on this team. So since no one on our team won any of awards, we're just going to go right into the free agent market, looking here at the international free agent filings. Doesn't look like there's much here so far. Maybe a kind of intriguing pitcher, a reliever, 2.5-star reliever, ground ball guy, wants $4 million, so I'm not quite sure about that. If he would take half, I would be okay with that. Yeah, no, he does not want half, so I don't think we're gonna go with him. So going to head right into free agency, and that's all batters, but it doesn't look like there's much here, to be completely honest. There really isn't much. I mean, Javier Baez is coming off a terrible season, actually. Slugging under 400. I mean, he's never been a good on-base guy, but 270 is pretty ridiculous. And yeah, you know if it's a bad free agent class, if Matthew Boyd is the best starter that's available. Yikes. Yeah, so wow, yeah, no. This is not a good class at all, but there does look like there could be some buy low options here. Matt Barnes coming off a bad year. Kind of interesting. Still striking out 13 guys, a BABIP of 400. Wow, so it looks like some of that could be attributed to BABIP luck. He did walk a ton of guys last year, and he did the year before, it looks like, too. I mean, so he only wants around $4 million, and that could be a bargain if he is able to return to, and he wants 2.8, so if he can return to anything close to some of his better years, I mean, that would be a great get for us. Archie Bradley, coming off a serious arm injury. He could be interesting. Michael Fulmer, we're going to offer him. Come back for 1.2. We'll do that for sure. Michael Lorenzen's available. He's just a reliever. Oh, he's also a two-way player. Forgot about that. Brendan Nimmo. Oh, I like his ratings. Good in left. Good discipline. Yeah, it looks like he had a bad year last year. Let's look at that. Yeah, very low average, didn't hit for much power. He had a decently low BABIP, I guess, compared to the rest of his career. Walk rate down a little bit, strikeouts up, but for that price, I mean, definitely be interested in that. He wants a 7-year deal. Maybe I'd do something like $4 million for 3 years. What if we did 5 for 3? He's not interested. He wants a long-term deal. Let's go ahead and address catcher right now. Alex Avila, he only wants around $1 million. So does Rob Rantley. We're definitely gonna. Well, I mean, we already are keeping Rogers, so he'll be coming back. Logan Ice. Jose Herrera. Looks like a young guy there. I think we might go with Herrera here, honestly. And we'll just go full major league with him. Yeah. We'll go with him. And I think that might be all we do in the catching department. It's really disappointing to see there's not much here. I mean, we don't have much money to play around. I mean, we do have money to play around with, but I don't think there's really any sense in offering. Got like that Bradley. I mean, we could check in with him if he. Yeah, I'm sure he wants a pretty short deal to get his value back up. 6 mil. We'll up with Bradley for that much. Maybe it can be a trade chip if he does pan out. I mean, we do have a lot of money available to us. Lance Lynn's a guy coming off injury. He only wants 5. Just want a quick check. So, yeah, I mean, if we're bringing back Fulmer, we definitely have. So Brendan White's a guy who's a prospect, 4-star prospect, who's going to get a shot at the majors with us this year. This coming year for most of the season probably. So Garcia, I'd be fine with him in the rotation. Wentz, he's fine. Fulmer's fine. Alexander's not going to be in. So if we go Mize, Garcia, Wentz, White, Fulmer. Of course, White won't be up for the entire year, but we also need some depth. And Faedo is not a good depth piece for us there. Again, there's White. Here's Flores, a guy who we drafted in 2020. He's not ready, though. He's only 19. So I think we're going to go after one more veteran starter here real quick on all pitchers. Definitely not going to bring Foyt in for that price. Arrieta's available. I don't want anything to do with him. Bundy, Cahill. I've had a bunch of games where saves where I brought Cahill in. He's extreme ground ball guy, which you like to see. Not a bad season from him last year. FIP in the mid fours. Ground ball percent at 59. He's definitely the veteran guy we're gonna be taking a flyer on the rotation this year. It's disappointing that there's really not any international free agents this year, and they're good. And I noticed that in this year's game, there's just not a lot that are available that are good, especially compared to last year's game. There's really not any young players in here either that we could bring in for multiple years and that could help build us forward. At this point in the save, we're pretty much just waiting for a lot of our prospects to come around at this point, which is going to be happening in the next few years as guys like Walker come up. Things like Jake Bowers, 26, not wanting much. He's a pretty decent lefty bat that we could bring in. He'd be a useful guy to have, possibly. Benintendi's here. That could be an interesting get. He can only play left, but I'm definitely interested in that for sure. He didn't have that bad of a year. It looks like he's in Kansas City. I think I'd be definitely interested in bringing him in. I think that's honestly what we're going to do. Yeah, I'd be interested in a long-term deal with Benintendi and a deal like this. $4 million. Yeah, we'll do that. 2 years with the player option of $4 million with Benintendi. No problem to me. Absolutely not. Singrani. We could use a lefty, and I know he's pretty decent. So we'll go ahead and bring him in for 1.5. We do not need another corner infield guy. We have way too many as it is. This guy's 24. We'll bring him in. He probably wants that. Full major league contract, $800,000. Not a bad deal at all. We'll do that. Dozers, just checking how he did. He wasn't that good in his return to Minnesota. I didn't even notice that we sent him back to Minnesota, which is, of course, who he was with for a long time. J.A. Happ still kicking. Not good last year. No, not a lot here that's good. Not a lot here that's good at all. Posted guys. Looks like there are some maybe intriguing posted players. Left-handed reliever. Right-handed relievers, 33. I don't really think there's a point in bringing him in. He's not that good, and I don't want to pay the posted fee if he's not going to be that good. Definitely want to take a look at the prospect listing. Okay, not mean to do that. Is there any way to? I'm trying to see system. I did not mean to do that. Okay, so whatever. I just looked at this. But Walker in there at 5. Let's just see how he's developing real quick. That power bat's still there. I would like the eye to be a little better. It's coming along at third base. Just go by our team. That is not us. Brendan White is our number 2 guy. He's in at 12 now. Flores is at 20. Riley Green at 54. Then we have Wentz, Perez, Paredes, Dahlback, Cameron. as you can see, I mean, of course, we're not doing much now, but I mean, this list right here just shows, I mean, the future is here. The future is coming. I mean, all these guys are in our organization, and they look to be pretty good. We'll be getting Matt Manning back next year, who I actually completely forgot about in our when we were talking about our staff for next year. But I mean, he is very much still here and very much still going to be a part of our future. And I think that's going to do it, actually. We're going to wrap it up for part 1 of the offseason, and so we'll be back in next episode. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.